So I've been at the Mount St. Helens Visitor Center so far today near Silver Lake, and it's only $5 to get in. Totally worth it. I learned a lot. And now I'm on the some kind of wetland trail. I can't remember the name now, but it's only a mile. It's easy, and I'm gonna go check it out. So I honestly don't know that much about wetlands, but this is really cool. So if you stop at the visitor center, the first one closest to Castle Rock, which I recommend you do, take the 1 mile path if you can. It's worth it. It's really neat. I just would like to have more signs to learn a little bit more, but it's really pretty and peaceful. I'm on my way out to the Coldwater Lake area of Mount St. Helens, and I just saw this sign for a sediment dam, a 1.18 mile loop, and it's called Sediment Retention Structure Trail. One thing I learned is that when Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, it deposited more than 3 billion cubic yards of debris, which was the largest landslide in history, at least at the time this sign was made. After the eruption, they basically had to dig out the Columbia River, the Toutle, and the Cowlitz River because they were just clogged up. And then another problem was lakes were basically dammed up and had no way to spill over, so they were getting bigger, which caused concerns for flooding, so they had to build like tunnels or ways for the lakes to drain if they got too full. I'm guessing this is a species of clover. It's so big. So you pop out of the woods, and the trail continues this way. There's a lookout point up here, and then you take the road back, and it hooks you back into the trail to get back. They've built this area to let water through if needed, but to catch sediment, is my understanding. And that's what those little, I don't know if you can see them, but there's little pipes in the hill. So I pulled over at this spot on Spirit Highway. All the places that just like lost trees and everything when that debris flow came through. And then across the way you've got some old growth forest, but then down below it you can see where new stuff is trying to come in and spread. So I'm heading out on the Bertha Lakes Trail at St. Helens National Monument, and it was foggy driving in places, and it was a little creepy. And it's foggy down here too. I feel kind of ill-prepared. So I'm at Coldwater Lake, and after the eruption there was debris that blocked the lake so that when it got too full it had nowhere to go. And geologists were worried, or scientists were worried, that if the lake got too full and just started to find a weak spot in the debris, it could start like another debris flow. So they ended up having to dig out a channel for the river when the river gets, for the lake. They ended up digging a channel for the lake, so when the lake gets too high, the water has a place to flow and it won't push through the wall of debris. Bertha Lake Trail is really neat. They have lots of informational signs, and most of it is paved, pretty easy. Mostly what I've been learning is that it's been eruptions in Mount St. Helens that have formed all these lakes, where valleys have been dammed up with debris, and then the snow and rain can't flow down the valley, so it creates a lake. I got off the Bertha Lakes Trail, now I'm picking up the Lake Shores Trail. Lake Shores Trail is pretty. It's somewhat narrow. There's a few places where it's washed out, so you just need to be careful. So many wildflowers along this trail. It's so pretty. So the shoreline changed after an eruption, blocked where this would flow into a creek. So this lake has risen over time, and that's why you see a lot of these big stumps along what's now the shoreline. Do you see what I see? Those are clear skies. This might be where I turn around on the Lakes Trail, so I can head up to the Science Center. I want to see Mount St. Helens today. I feel really torn because that looks beautiful, but I also don't want to get to Mount St. Helens view and now it's cloudy again. I don't know, I want to do everything. I'm gonna go further down the lake trail, but I might turn around. And I'm heading back. So that's what I hiked to, right, that little jut out right there. I do kind of wish I'd gone all the way, but my whole point of being here is to see Mount St. Helens. So I need to go do that. That needs to be priority one, right? So I just listened to a ranger give a talk, and it was really fascinating. I learned a lot. First of all, after Mount St. Helens erupted, they protected this land to keep development from happening here again. But they also did that with the idea that they were not going to help it restore. They wanted it to be like a living laboratory. And so all these trees you see out here now, like, they weren't replanted. This is just nature healing itself. Just unbelievable, like, in 40 years, how much green has come back. So we're going to take the Hummocks Trail and then pick up the Boundary Trail and take that for a little while. The Boundary Trail goes pretty far. What I keep thinking about, and this is for my mom, life finds a way. I've left the Hummocks Trail and I'm gone on the Boundary Trail, but you can really see where there's a huge crater now, where so much of the mountain was blown away. You can see on the hills, they call it skeleton forest. It's the remains of the trees that got taken out during the 1980 eruption. Just around that bend behind me, it gets pretty steep and narrow, and that's definitely where a big rock slide has been. And I started to get vertigo and I freaked out. So I turned around and very carefully came back to where I felt safer. Way over there. That's the cold water center we came from. We didn't hike from that though. We drove down to the Hummocks parking lot. Mount St. Helens is beautiful, and even though I didn't get to see the full thing because of the clouds, I saw a lot of it. Heavy rain or melting snow sends the rocks tumbling down. So we made it back to the Hummocks Trail. If I go that way, it's only a half mile to the car. If I go that way, it's 2. But since I had to turn around on the other hike, I think I'll do the 2. So you might remember this from this morning. This whole valley was covered with clouds and we were above it. But now you can see better. Well, this is it for Mount St. Helens, at least from this side of the mountain. Tomorrow's Ape Cave and some forest hiking.